President Trump says he's going to deny visas for foreign students trying to come to the U.S. to attend Harvard University. He also announced a travel ban on 12 countries. Eamon Javers joins us now with more. Hey, Eamon.
Hey, good morning, Joe. Yeah, the president, with a flurry of activity yesterday at the White House, a number of proclamations and executive orders. The first one is this travel ban, and take a look at the countries that are impacted. He's talking about 12 countries here that will have suspended travel to the U.S. for citizens. That's Afghanistan, Burma, Chad, Republic of the Congo, Equatorial Guinea, Eritrea, Haiti, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and Yemen. There's also partial restrictions here for 7 other countries, and the president says all of this is going to take place Monday at 12:01 a.m. So there'll be a flurry of activity at the border here as well. And then on Harvard, a similar issue in the back and forth with Harvard University and this administration. The president saying that he's going to deny visas to Harvard's international students. In this proclamation that the president signed yesterday, Trump said Harvard failed to present sufficient information about its foreign students to the federal government. In fact, the administration said that Harvard only presented data about 3 students who'd been disciplined. They said that that number indicated that Harvard was not being serious about discipline and security. Harvard University responding with their statement saying this is yet another illegal retaliatory step taken by the administration in violation of Harvard's First Amendment rights. Harvard will continue to protect its international students. So, guys, I think on the Harvard front here, you can expect that university to continue to fight the administration in court. I would imagine that at some point you'll see lawsuits around this, and we'll see where it goes in the courts. You remember on the travel ban issue, you remember back in Trump's first term, he had what he called a Muslim ban of travel from certain nations that were majority Islamic. That one was initially struck down. There was resistance in the courts. They reformulated it. In the end, they were able to preserve that travel ban in the first term, and President Biden struck it down, calling it a stain on the nation during Biden's term. Now that travel restriction is back. The president says this is necessary for safety because these countries don't sufficiently vet people because they're hotbeds of terrorism in some cases, and they're not cooperating with U.S. immigration forces. Guys, back over to you.
There's a lot of, obviously, as you said, a lot of litigation that we can expect from Harvard. But, you know, Eamon, the executive branch has a lot of power, and it's almost like fighting City Hall. You might win some court cases, but he can do some of this stuff. And Alan Garber, I don't know whether it's good or bad, but, you know, now he's kind of been set up as the lead of the resistance. I don't know if the resistance to what. I guess the resistance to curbing anti-Semitism. I don't know why you'd want to be the face of not knuckling under to curbing anti-Semitism, but that's the position he finds himself in. I don't know how it plays out. But Harvard,
Joe,
Harvard.
The argument is.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yep. I mean, the argument is that there is anti-Semitism and then there's free expression, right? And criticizing the government of Israel, military actions taken by Israel, that sort of thing is simply free expression and not anti-Semitic on its face. And so the question is, where in that continuum does it shift over the line? And what Harvard has said is we're going to defend free expression and free academic inquiry by our professors.
If Jewish students still aren't safe,
that's the battle here.
Jewish students still aren't safe. Everybody likes peaceful demonstrations. No one's trying to stop peaceful demonstrations. I don't know if I want them screaming death to the Jews and genocide to the Jews and from the river to the sea. I'm not sure. That just seems to spawn the violence against the Jewish students, so you can't feel safe. It is not. It hasn't been fixed. It has not been fixed, and they should get together, figure out a way to fix it, and that's what I mean. I think he's emboldened now because the left is holding him up as some type of, the leader of the resistance. The resistance to what? The resistance to curbing anti-Semitism. Who wants to be the leader of that resistance? Amen. But this is just me.
And look, politically, Joe, this works for Trump, right? Because it's both immigration, but it's also It's also anti-elites, right? I mean, going after Harvard and Columbia, the very top
that's the bonus
Ivy League schools on the coast.
That's the bonus.
This fits Trump's message, right?
Yeah,
Politically,
that gets thrown
this is
in
a win
for free
for Trump because it fits the message of we're taking on the elites. I'm part of you, the MAGA voters, right? And this is part of Trump reframing the Republican Party as a populist, working class, anti-elite party. And that, for corporate folks, that has some rebound effects, because this is also a party now that doesn't see itself as totally aligned with corporate elites as well, sees them as sort of in the bag with some of those academic elites. And so this is a reframing of American politics in a way that we really haven't seen. And so this is a morphing of a political party into something that's new. And we'll see, sort of in the courts where the fight comes out, and then also politically whether this ends up being popular nationwide, and this ends up being something that people run on in 28.
And there is a question how long it lasts, and does it outlast Donald Trump? And I saw George Clooney, who was actually from my hometown, but I saw him saying, Trump's very charismatic, and he is a celebrity, and once he's gone, the entire movement will be dead, which I think totally misses sort of what sentiment in the country kind of spawned something like MAGA. So I don't know if it ends when Donald Trump.
I mean, if you ask, my opinion, not that it's worth anything, but can you have Trumpism without Trump is a really fascinating question. I think ultimately all those factors are in the country. They were in the country before Trump, but Trump harnessed them in a way that's sort of sui generis, right? His personality, his ability to proceed amongst enormous criticism, his disregard for the traditional rules of politics and sort of remaking politics in his own image. That's something that very few people can do. And so, could a J.D. Vance do that? Could a Josh Hawley do that? Marco Rubio maybe? Are there people out there who could carry the Trump torch forward in 28? I don't know that they have the same personal swagger that Donald Trump has.
Right. Well, if they're up against AOC,
Elon Musk's money.
If they're up against the party's leader, AOC, it might not be that tough of a battle, Eamon. Democrats got their own problems with trying to find someone that anyone would vote for.
I mean, the top spokesperson for Joe Biden just resigned from the Democratic Party yesterday.
Exactly.
Right? So,
bizarre.
I mean, that party has some significant challenges. But there's a couple of years left, and
probably not a good sign.
We'll see what happens.
They're wrapping us up, Eamon. We're having this heart-to-heart.
Things are not trending right.